Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Blue Hour Podcast, where we explore the minds and the worlds of visionary artists and creators. This week's episode is with one of my friend and amazing artist, Debbie Doe. And for news, we have just completed our first Rosenbra retreat, which was absolutely magical in the space I'm in right now. And we're planning another one in Spain over the summer. Maybe it will be more focused for artists and creators. This one was a bit more open. I'm very excited because it feels like Rosenbra has just begun. It has just emerged. And I know that my purpose is clearer than ever. So stay tuned for more updates on that. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Welcome to my new podcast, Blue Hour Visionary Podcast, where we explore the ethereal realms of visionary and spiritual artists. Today joining me is Debbie Doe. So thanks for joining me. Debbie Doe is an electronic musician and immersive sound enthusiast. Studying electroacoustics at Concordia University, Debbie's artistry is shaped by spiritual voyages, crafting cinematic, theatrical sonic landscapes. They blend instruments uniquely, using diverse sampling techniques and electronic hardware to create mesmerizing atmospheres that harmonize in experimental symphony. Debbie specializes in intimate sonic exploration, immersing listeners in fictitious worlds. Their work extends to collaboration for exhibitions, virtual reality films, and immersive experiences, showcasing an innovative approach to spatial audio. So, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Debbie, if you guys that don't know me well, is one of my good friends. So we've known each other now for like maybe 2-3 years. Mm-hmm. And I think our connection has always, for me anyways, has been to the mystical energetics that kind of is underlying all of our creation. And I think the first time I met you was actually in my art opening, and you were DJing.
Yeah, it's true. I was doing a live performance during.
Yeah, we have a common friend that invited us to like this, to this art opening that I was showing art, and somehow he knew that we had like it would be a good match. And last year I saw your show at the Phi Center.
Yeah, it was at La Sat, inside of the dome.
Sat. No, there was another one too.
Oh yeah, it was in the Phi listening room.
Yes,
the immersive
thing.
Small, intimate room.
And that's where I got to understand because I saw your music at your studio, like you made me see with your own sound system, but there was like, how many speakers? Like
16 speakers.
16 speakers.
Above, below.
Yeah. And then you're just
left
sitting
and
down.
Right, everywhere.
So yeah,
True.
That was like the first time I could, because I got a feel of that, of what you're creating, but now you get to see the depth of it when everything is coordinated in 3D. Yeah, so that was amazing. I don't know, maybe we can start if you can describe like, just in your general like interest in the past, for your past work. And maybe just what you're working on right now, like how it has evolved to now.
I can do a small overview. So I started DJing 10 years ago. So this is how I got introduced to sound. I was DJing big, small crowds, connecting with people's energy through sound. And then I went into live performance and studying electroacoustic at Concordia to really understand the depth of sound and what sound is, and to be able to compose in a new way, which I was able to compose in a surround and start to learn how to listen differently as well. So that got activated when I went to school, and throughout that, until now I still do contracts. I build pieces for dance, performance, visual arts, and I'm mostly interested now to connect sound healing through electronic sounds, through spatial audio. And I'm really interested in also bringing live performance and sounding experiments to participants and audience where they can feel it also with their body. So like a whole like transformational
and just quick question, like you said you were like DJing at first, but what felt like you needed more? Like what was this sensation of like, oh, I think there's more I can deepen my understanding of sound, of how to make sounds? Like how would you describe this kind of because it must have been a pivotal moment, because like you're in more of a DJ scene and all of a sudden you want to like be hands-on into the depth of creation and like
I feel the pivotal moment for me was like I discovered like how to use Ableton, and Ableton is to compose your own music. And then when you're DJing, you're almost like playing other people's music, and when you compose your own music, there's another depth and like intimacy in that, and you can transcend your emotions, you can transcend things you channel, and way more into depth than like, let's say, DJing and playing with other people's tracks. So it was when I saw this opening, I was like, okay, so sound can be explored in different forms. I could be DJing, I can compose, I can then compose and play all those compositions in a live performance. So I can, and during my live performance, I can play my own sounds and my own tracks that I channeled throughout different experiences throughout the year, through different journeys. So all that opened up like a huge door for me, and I was really curious to sculpt my own sound, to know which color I want to bring in, and to connect to it in different ways.
And I've always, for me, like my interest in music started with like classical music, but very quickly evolved into like ambient and like and for me, now that I have a bit more perspective on who I am and what I like, I see like the type of sound you create as for me, like when there's lyrics, it's often connected to more the physical, the emotional. You're talking about emotions and like stories through the words. But for me, ambience is like more of the spiritual. You're creating. If you close your eyes, you can, and you're sensitive, you can really enter into a spiritual dimension. Like, and that's why I think I'm so fascinated by your work, because the more texture and the depth of the sound, the quality of the sound, and the more speakers and the immersive space, the more this dimension becomes activated, and people can almost just like dive in. You enter the space and you're projected in it, if you want it or not. You know, it's all these vibrations that are projected all around you at once. And I guess some people that are not interested in this music would maybe close down to it, but if you have an interest and you just open, you enter the space and you're just submersed by this new realm that you've created. So yeah, I think that transition well with your new work. You say it's more you're introducing more of ancient sounds, like with like tambourines, or
well, as we know, we're made of vibrations, and like if the frequencies in our body is not well aligned, there's disease, we don't feel good, there's blockages. So that's why my interest in like sound healing and going into those different instruments that we know, but we don't usually really listen to or take the time to like dive into them again. Let's say a gong or a singing bowl or a tuning fork. So I have a collaborator with me right now that is into sound healing and has all those instruments.
Yeah, we saw when we came in earlier, right?
Yeah.
The big bowls and
the big bowls, and
gong.
This is a gong that I adopted from Sweden, my first little gong. And then there's a tuning forks that she uses, and I've been recording different bowls and all that. And all those frequencies, they play on the ether, they play like on different places on your body. So it just brings me back to like, yes, I want to use spatial audio using also those frequencies and also incorporating, let's say, like ground of bass and like incorporating electronics elements that the participant will come and sit and they can feel the sound with their bodies as much as with their ears, and really get involved into like maybe, I don't know, maybe they can go and like really for an inner journey. And this inner journey maybe can recalibrate or transform the other. Yeah. I cannot tell in which way because everyone will experience it in their own way. Yeah. But I feel in this new era, this new age, this new way of seeing and hearing, it could be activated in spaces like that.
It's so like a new way, but also like old the way, like
yeah, with
Pythagorean like magic, you know, how they would use frequencies like the what you showed me, like actual frequencies, because they have a good understanding of the vibration of every organ and how to heal it by sending the right, because disease, as you say, is maybe the organ that's vibrating at the right frequency.
Exactly.
So then you tune it again and you can create harmony again in the body.
That's the thing. And like anyways, we know that like the medicine and everyone right now, they don't speak about ancient ways of healing people with sound, and how sound has so many big factors on our bodies, and they don't want to commercialize that. They just want to, you know, anyways, they just want to go like with medication and doing things fast, but like when you can take the time with sound to recalibrate your body and to
I remember last year you had this big table. Was it like a bison? How do you call it? The animal? That's
I have this big tambour.
Yeah.
It's a bison medicine.
Bison medicine. Yeah, I remember the experience. You did it to me, and you really feel your whole body like vibrating. And
it's 100% native Siberian drumming. So when I was drumming, and you were under the huge drum, and you were feeling all the vibrations into your body. Yeah. And at some point you start seeing colors. I remember. Yeah. And those colors are connected to the chakras that needs more work. And then we would see each other again, let's say, but we didn't have the chance, and I would like rework on those chakras. But this was one of the elements, this big full body tambour that I also discovered and adopted.
Like from just the small story, like timeline you just gave us, like from producing, like I guess showing people's work through your DJing skills and creating your own work, and now this new dimension. I can really, like, we were just looking at your astrology chart, and like the reason I do Vedic astrology is really to help people see the tendencies of their souls almost. Like I have a tool that I show in my work, which is called the soul arrow, where we look at big events in the life and where the arrow, when you create one point, it creates a line. At some point, you can predict where you're going. If you see the more dots you have. And with astrology, you can see that. And so I can see, like, from my perspective anyways, my subjective perspective, like you're being called just to, like I said, I sense that like ambience, music, atmospheric is the most spiritual type of sound. It's more about frequencies and I see you learning a lot about old traditions that have been healing people forever, and like we were discussing that a bit earlier, like from the producing for yourself to be more like of service. How can you use your music to immerse people in a healing realm? And this dimension is, like you say, you see the color when you do the bison thing, and you know like which chakra is being blocked that needs to work on. And I really see that. I'm excited like to see your work once everything is integrated together. And like even for you, I feel like as you're doing these new sounds, you will be healing yourself, but more than healing, you will be like opening up some portals within your chakras for you to go in, extract some new knowledge and channel it. So it's not going to be just like healing externally, but it's going to be like a going out to go in to go back out type. So I'm really excited to see, like I've experienced the bison one.
Yeah, the tambour. You're reminding me of all this pathway. So it's beautiful to you're naming it, and you're putting me back on that path as well, and on the path of like being in service to others.
Mm-hmm.
So as an artist, we all have our own egos, right?
Yeah.
And discerning an ego and really going with what your heart desires and really aligning and those choices during your career is important. And when I slowly dissolving this part of me, I wanted to be in service of others, but I was like, how can I be in service with other through sound?
Yeah.
And this is where the bison tambour came.
Mm-hmm.
And I put in my studio, and I was giving sessions to friends. But then I was like, okay, how can we impact a bigger number of people through sound,
Right.
and through frequencies and through performance? Because performance is also a ritual. So this came,
Right,
all
yeah.
this came all around questioning regarding this moment of like adopting this tambour and having this, how can I be in service?
And when
through
was
it?
that? Like, how long ago did you was the purchase of that?
That was like a year and a half ago. Last time I saw you there?
Well,
August. Actually, in that August is where I went for the workshop of the tambour.
because we were just doing astrology, and you can see the major cycles. So I was telling her what
yes.
happened on that date. That was a big change, and she was like, "Oh, I don't remember." Like, I'm like, "You should reflect and see." And now we see it's the purchase of this tambour that brings another dimension of more healing others to your work, which is more connected with your moon cycle now.
And you made this connection because for me it's in the back of my head, and now I'm like into this new journey. But it's like it all started from that point as well.
That's so cool.
And also like before going to the bison and purchasing and adopting this huge tambour, I was also going. I had a big like body, mind, spirit purging, a big cleanse through a.
That's what I told you. Your moon is in the house of the health and the body.
Sorry, now I'm reconnecting to everything that we're talking.
There you
So
go.
In August, September, I got a big cleansing, this purging. I can speak about it later on, but it's through medicine that happened, and through that, I felt so aligned, and I wanted to be in service came as well through the messages receiving after that, being like such in a clear channel. And I was like, okay, I'm in a clear channel, and I'm also ready to be of service to others, and I could be through this tambour, and this is how I wanted to start everything, right? But then, yeah, it's true, and now we're into this realm with this spatial audio and trying to implement all those ideas.
Yeah, I'm like.
Thank
I
you
have
so much
shivers.
for this reminder. Yeah, it's like life goes by so quick, and then you forget the starting point, and then it's like everything goes on from there. It's like a ladder of ascension, and then just like remembering like where you start from the bottom of the tower to really get into all those steps.
And again, that was also your tarot. Like the first card was more like going back. I see it as going back in the past to remember. Almost like you want to kind of realign. Like the first thing I told you was like, well, we're going to do this tarot because we're going to tap into your higher self to see maybe you're going this direction and it works well, but maybe just 1 degree beside there's another parallel that's even less resistance, and that you can go even quicker. And I think it's important to address these things, especially as artists, because we have a lot of power, creative power, and the world is changing, and people are suffering because they're resisting this change, and people are suffering also physically, and like with COVID, and so it's important, if you have a gift of healing, like once in a while retune the instrument, see if there's a chord that vibrates even higher right beside it. You just have to do a little thing, and then your path goes even smoother, and that's what it was all about. Like just readdressing, maybe like it can be a relationship trauma that was like you're still bitter a bit about it, and what this is like a tab that's open and that uses your energy, your emotional energy daily, so you're more drained, therefore you have less energy for things that really have a potential to be very impactful. So like that's what it's about, is like knowing that you have a gift, and knowing that your potential to heal others is just waiting. Well, it's already happening, but it can go exponential. Like the magician card that you got is like, the magician is like this archetype that you are in the center and you can manifest anything you want, aligned with your higher will.
Also, I don't want to really use the word healing, because it's been used a lot these days. More about activating people through our practice, which can bring them healing or can also help them activate others. But I feel it also starts with an activation before the healing occurs as well.
And how have you experienced that with the people you've helped? Like, how does that come up?
It's personal, but I can speak around, like, even sharing, like, let's say words, sharing knowledge, sharing an idea, listening to a sound, it could just activate something in the other and just...
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, okay. So like, you may think the nuance you're bringing is more like healing is it's not something you do to someone, it's something they do to themselves, and you're just there to remind them that they can heal, kind of.
Yeah, okay, I can give an example. You reminded me. So we were at Midspace, I think 2 summers ago, and then intuitively I was inviting guests into my studio, and I was actually using the bison tambour, but the smaller version.
Okay.
The smaller version, and I was I had this sound artist that I was in my studio, and then I did the whole tambour on his, like, up, like from head to toe and all the way up, and I just did the patterns that I usually do, and then I felt he was déséquilibré, like an dizzy, or you know, and then anyways he sat and I gave him something to eat, and then anyways we didn't speak again, and then he went on to the dance party and he continued dancing and continued doing my thing there, and then like 2 months ago I see him at an event, and I look at him and he's like, he looks like he lost weight, he looks like really healthier than I saw him. And then I ask him, like, hey, like, how, you know, you lost weight, like things, you know, and we start talking about music, and from a subject to another he's like, and I just wanted to let you know that moment in your studio when you did the tambour, it made me realize how unhealthy I am in some ways in my life. So I went on and took the initiative to, like, to make a change, and the change, like, was obviously changed.
Yeah.
So this is just, we didn't know that it happened, but it did happen, and it activated him to open a door and to go, and I don't know what he did to heal himself, but it opened up a door, let's say.
But I think also, like, there is the metaphysical part with the sound, but what I see also in your chart is as a Leo sun, your soul Leo, the sun is what inspires us, like that's what brings joy.
Yes.
And Leo is ruled by the sun, so you have an innate soul quality to inspire people. Inspire, I see it like the image that came when you told me this is like, you give them something and you just kind of, you create a suction, and then when you go away, the suction is still there for them to, like, feel like they have something to do, and it just kind of draws them towards this inspiration you've created in their minds. And
that's why I call it activation as well, because it did activate something for the healing to occur, or further. Oh, super cool. We're talking about all this. I don't it's usually we live in those, like, memories of things, but now that we're naming them and being able to share them between us, I feel very special.
And it for me too, because like with Rose Umbra, which is my new project, like I have an unconventional path, and there is no, like, I don't have a role model to be like, okay, then I have to do this and this, and through conversation like this, I see how, like, I can be of service through artists and creators, and it is my rising is Gemini. Gemini is about seeing the bigger picture. Astrology is about seeing the bigger picture. So helping, like, anyone, like, just be able to piece together the thread of with all the beats.
Yeah, you already did.
And see, like, how the next beat can be, like, even bigger and, like, have an even bigger impact by linking it to all the past.
I could say you just activated again something in me by our conversation, the tarot reading, and all this is for sure.
Yeah, like I do feel it because when I have shivers, you know, it's like something that's just kind of transcending. Yeah. And I feel like something we have in common in the past few years is that the stability of the home is not necessarily something we're attached to. And I see something with that, like from my personal experience, not having stability makes also the mind completely open, like you don't have attachment. And therefore you can go wherever your heart and your soul brings you. And I think you've been exploring a lot in the past year or so, like going where your heart leads you to art residencies, doing this, doing that. And now you're still like, this is your new space for your project you're doing with other people. But now you're going in Mexico, right?
Yes, I'm going to Mexico, and I'm going with a collaborator as well, and with two collaborators actually. And so this whole system, it's gonna be mobile, the surround system. So we're taking them big cases, taking the huge subwoofer, bringing my modular synthesizer, all my tools to be able to create and then give a beautiful performance in the subject that we spoke about, for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna be going there, and I want to really, one of the goal to go there is to explore like sacred spaces such as caves, where the caves were built, like the way caves are built is like the sound inside is to connect to like cosmic energy, the resonance of a cave.
Okay.
So it's.
I mean, in general, how like Earth made them.
Yeah, exactly, and even like they say, you know, architecture is sound, and some temples were built in the same way that follows the chakras of the body.
Yeah.
So that's why they say temples is the body, and the body is the temple.
Well, the first one being the Temple of Solomon. So Solomon's temple is the example, the template for all the churches we have now. And Solomon, we don't know if he's a real guy because his name is very encrypted. Sol is the sun, and I don't know, remember but basically this character is an emblem of like the god man, and this temple is using the sacred geometry of the body, where like the pineal gland in the church would be the altar, where there's the most condensed energy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I've studied that quite a lot.
So I'm actually interested in that, and I want to study that more and more. And I was like, okay, in Mexico, there's places where they're sacred, and acoustically, they're very interesting as well to bring in those frequencies and make like a body resonate inside of those spaces.
Well, you know what? Caves for me, like I've been to a few, like in Europe and in Turkey. For me, it's like a womb. It's like you enter the womb of the earth, and then you're inside like this dark, as if you're inside the dark, humid womb.
It's crazy.
Where all your fears are activated and all your like.
So imagine, it's a bit what I wrote as a proposal for a cave in Mexico, and it was that. It's like I want the participant to enter in the darkness, because it's a cave where they have concerts usually, but it's a really beautiful intent. Like
I'd love to be there too.
And I in the proposal I was saying like entering this womb, you know, I want it to be dark and people enter, and I want to have like hidden speakers everywhere.
Oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to have like, you know, play like those like certain frequencies and really do a huge like sonic journey where they can really go inner, because they're inside that cave. It's connected to the cosmic energy, the stellar acoustic of the cave, and like playing on all those realms at the same time. So this is like one of the things I would like to explore as a residency, but also like discovering all those like sacred spaces and their acoustics and how they resonate with our bodies, and making people live journeys inside of those places is something I'm really looking forward to explore.
And also these caves, like for like the beginning of humankind, have been used for rituals. So there is a lot of especially those that are close to civilization, you know that they've been used if they're near water or whatever. So there is an energy that is, sometimes there's like spirits and stuff in there that are still alive.
But the cave is an instrument itself. Like the resonance of it, just like the echoes of it, the water like splashing, like it's just an echo itself.
So I guess you can also like record the project, like the sound projections.
Like let's say if I want to like let's say have some shamans come in and have them like record some chants, and like having the really cultural integration into the project. It's also like recording using the acoustics of the space within the sacred chants, and then doing a playback on the speakers as a diffusion at some point in the this is a bit the goal as well, to have a residency / performance in order to explore all those points, pre-recorded and not, and then mixing.
And have you thought already like which type of sounds you want to project?
Yeah, a bit. So yeah, that's why we recorded different bowls.
Yeah.
Connected to different elements.
So with like the scale being like, because I know some music is linked with sacred geometry, like the scale, so like a square is like the angles of a square is 360 degrees, and it equates to a specific frequency, like a specific note. And then you go to the next shape, which is a pentagon, which has like 540 degrees, and then it's another. And so that's what you're using basically, is like sacred geometry and sacred sound too, and it's connected with the chakras, and you want to like play with that in the dimension of the cavern.
Exactly, but I want to deepen my research regarding that. So now this is the surface of things that we know. Like let's say I have this bowl. Let's say it's 412 hertz, and I know it's connected to the heart chakra. So I'm recording the bowl, and then I'm recording another bowl that is more connected to the ether, to air.
Yeah.
So now we know we have all the elements already recorded, and then it's like going deeper into the research and see how this can resonate.
I'm sure I have lots of books I could refer to you about. Like sacred geometry is directly linked to sound, so if you understand how the shapes work, it can be even easier to understand because it's a physical shape, and you can literally see, like, you know, the platonic solids, they all kind of interlock into each other the same way sounds can interlock into each other. So when you will kind of draw even the shapes, you can understand the power of the sound, like how it will interact in the body. Like it's something that's very subjective and personal, but through drawing sacred geometry, you're actually connecting to the energy of the sound.
Wow, that's so interesting.
So you could even like work with like a spatially where you place them.
Even where I place the speakers in a sacred geometry thing, huh?
That would be so cool.
I got a small book about like all the sacred geometry, and they explain each one what it is. Même les flocons de neige comme en perspective aussi, and it made me think like I would want to place the speakers like that, but knowing also like deepening the knowledge of those shapes. Yeah, this is my goal also this year: deepening the knowledge of every shape.
And imagine like a sound installation, a light installation, like glowing shapes suspended in the caves, some places that are connected with the sounds. So then the people that go there, they're activated through the sound to their subjective mind, and to their rational objective mind, they're activated through the shapes that they can see. So you have like both hemispheres activated at once, and that's usually where healing happens, is when both hemispheres of the brain kind of connect together and create like a partnership.
I wanted to do the experience in the dark, to go really inner, but this also could be a nice alternative.
Like you should just put them very small, and so you're just like, oh shit, what's this weird
little
thing?
Glimpse of
but yeah, in the dark for sure, then it's just like the spiritual abstract sphere that you just, and you're gonna put like, I guess if it's used before, there's already a place to sit and stuff.
There's like a small like wooden deck, it's to sit and perform, but it's set up in a way for people to lay down, because they do also sound healing sessions there. So it's already set in a way for people to be able to sit comfortably and lay down and enjoy the experience.
You have to tell me the date. I would love to come.
Well, first I have to see if my proposal is accepted, but I would love for you.
Well, I'm sure that if you don't do there, like you will have put so much effort that you will manifest like another opportunity that's similar.
Yes, I want to send you a proposal for you to read it like quickly, but it's like we took really time to write it and put our ideas together and research more the subject, and like this to be able to also for the experience to be so potent in all the ways possible. So
multi-layered. And you know, like all your work, I really see like the pull, like that you're being pulled to be of service, in the sense like I think what's going on, that's my personal interpretation of course, but I feel like we're going from this like escape from the world by like building towers that are higher and higher, so that you're the more and more disconnected, and to come back to it, but not by neglecting the what has been built, but to integrate it with a more felt, earthy experience. Mm-hmm. And in the sense, like you're using technology, right? Like sound is a technology, frequencies, and this, you bring back like old technologies to the foreground with new technologies and integrating into the natural environment. And for me, this is the future. Like this is what we need to transition to, like gracefully, is this new integration. So like that's very inspiring to see that you're naturally drawn to this, and it's really connected to the moon as well.
Thank you for naming it, because I know I'm doing it subconsciously, but just like having it understood and like anchored.
Yeah.
You by naming it is just anchoring the mission more inside of me. So.
And that's so cool. Like for me, I feel like what you're describing is like a dream I might have had. I recorded a guided meditation on YouTube, and it's me in visualize, like in meditation, where I was on the beach and then just walking into the ocean, deeper and deeper, and then I'm so surprised because the water is like skin temperature. It's so warm, and I can breathe underwater. That's so cool. So I continue walking, and then I just go explore the bottom of the ocean, and then I just found like a very cozy place on the sand that's very calm, little fishes. I sit down in meditation under the ocean, and then like this kind of a lot of symbols start happening, some energies start moving, and so I describe in the meditation everything I've experienced internally, which is connected with the ocean, but of course with nature. So I don't know, for me, like this is kind of my way of I mentally go to these spaces, but like in reality I'm like, I want to actually do this. I want to go to the bottom of the ocean in real life and breathe and be able to meditate there.
I'm gonna tell you something crazy. So talking about like underwater and ocean, so I have a hydrophone which records water underwater.
Oh shit.
So in the cave where I applied, there's a cenote inside of the cave. So I was just thinking to drop the hydrophone, and the hydrophone, it takes the water sound and transmute it into an electric signal.
Wow.
So with my collaborator, we took like her crystal bowl, Tibetan bowl. We put some water inside. We dropped the hydrophone, and then she hid the Tibetan, and then the resonance, and then with her hands she was playing with the water, and it was like boop, 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 like watery sounds. So I took some of the water recordings and then did like a underwater type of effect. So I have a piece where you really feel you're underwater, and then it's like you're slowly coming out under the water to connect to the celestial type of being. So, but all that is like experience in the immersive audio. So, but just like really like you're able to hear the real water, but it's transmuting into this true electrical signal. But it's really interesting because you can put this into ocean, into anywhere, and just like.
But you know, there's also so many like in the old occult literature, you can find lots of rituals that like sacred water. Like water is one of the most chargeable energies. So there's a lot of rituals where you will perform some kind of ceremony and invoke whatever energies you want to work with into the water, and then you drink the water. But imagine if you let the water with all the energy you just invoked in it, and then you just put like a microphone that can translate it into sound, and you like, I'm wondering if there would actually be a different frequency with different invocations.
It's to experiment.
That would be so cool.
It's an underwater recorder. So
yeah, that's like.
So this is also, I'm going to be experimenting with it in Mexico.
Would you be able to hear like, one of my favorite sounds is like the whales underwater, their frequency, their pitch. Like, I'm not going to do a demo, but
that would be lovely.
Imagine you're recording and then you hear that.
But it picks up on the resonance. So if there's a whale passing, let's say, it will pick up on the resonance of the whale if the whale is speaking to another one, or.
And cenotes, like I was in Mexico last year. I found like a cenote that was closed, it was so dark, there was no one there, and there was no indication you could swim or not, but there was like, it seems like a little dock, so I was like, oh, perhaps I can jump in. So like for me there was like a personal ritual to just kind of, because for me and for the Mayans too, like the Cenotes is connected with the underworld, so that's why they would like perform sacrifices to the underworld gods. But it's connected to the, for me, the unconscious mind, so all the depth of the psyche that we don't want to explore because it's too dark. But like they would actively go deep into the darkness so that they can go further into the light. And so there is so much mythology with the cenotes, all the death that's associated with it. But like I went diving in the cenote at during the same week, and it's like, is it where you were? Are you near like Playa Carmen in this area?
Yeah, it's near Tulum.
Yeah, so that was in this area, and it's like the longest underwater river in the world, and it's connected like 2 provinces in Mexico underwater. So there's just these entrances, there's a body of water, but when you go in, you put your face in the water and you see these like tunnels that go even deeper. It's like highways that go like vertical and then horizontal.
I need to know the name of...
They're all connected. All these water cenotes are connected underwater. And they create a big stream of like intricate like channels. God, I'm gonna have
so much fun.
So like that's why like working with this, I would be curious how it will affect you also subconsciously. Like for me, water is the subconscious mind, but specifically cenotes is like the subconscious mind of the world. So like how you open these channels by putting your microphone there, how it will kind of also in your dreams maybe like open some doorways. Like I'm curious to see how it affects
like 2 years ago I was dreaming a lot about like blue water, being in the ocean, blue water. And you reminded me of something. Wow, I forgot. A few days ago I dreamt I don't know where I was, but there was like white water. Okay. Literally, I was in white water. It was splunging all over me. I was in the ocean, in the middle of somewhere, but I was just talking with someone, and this white water was like everywhere.
Reminds me of the tarot reading I just drawn for you. It's there's a lot of the last card, the advice is the water. It's leading in the water sphere. So like emotional sphere, like an emotional cleanse to activate your intuition even further. But continue your dream. It was mainly that.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't remember the rest, but I woke up, I'm like, wow, I was in white water. I never felt water, seen almost like coconut white water vibe.
Because the white is often linked with light also. So if you put like water is transparent, so it reflects whatever is there. But if you put like a flashlight like on a bottle of water, it will like activate and make it look white. So it's almost like a...
It's like I was in a white ocean.
Yeah, it is. I feel like
very angelic.
It's like a cleansing, yeah.
Like cleansing, yeah.
Purifying energy. Water purifies, and with white light, it becomes even, I guess, more potent. So perhaps you're exploring these realms, and like through your dreams there is some astral like download or something that's going on. But do you dream a lot? Like, do you remember your dreams at all?
It's here and there. It's not all the time. So
do you have one that recently stood out other than this one?
I can remember the emotion of it, but I don't remember the actual dream. Some were like, there was animals. Yes, there was a creature-like animal around, but it was like an animal I've never seen before. So it was... Your
rising is Scorpio. Scorpio, well, yeah, there you go. Scorpio is connected with the underworld.
It was an underworld vibe,
but like I'm saying that because cenote, your attraction to cenotes is the underworld of the world. And Scorpio is like going through these dark tunnels, not afraid of the dark. Some Scorpios are afraid of the dark, and that's why they can become like vengeant and like, but like actively going to the dark, this kind of natural energy, and even in your dreams or in psychedelic experiences, you know, if you see something that's scary, It's like, no, go to it. You're meant to like go there
Even
and address it and love it, and you know, and integrate it with your light. You see like the polarities of like the white water and then the cenotes.
working on that.
Yeah. Well, that's probably part of your mythology in your life as well, to integrate these polarities and translate, because the more dark you go through, the more healing powers you will get also to like, you know, it goes like both ways. So yeah, like it's funny. That's why I like interpreting the chart before doing these kind of sessions with you.
It really carves the trajectory of...
yeah, and it helps me also understand you a little bit better. Like, and see how to, because this can be interpreted in millions of ways, but there's always these potent energies, which are the planetary energies that rotate around the sun, and then your sun is your Leo self that shines, and yeah, like then your healing comes from your scorpionic energy that pierces the mysteries and pierces the illusions of people's, to see what's underneath, the emotions that is hidden beneath, so you can like open up and heal them directly. That is scorpionic, like very, so yeah, I think I want to finish maybe by asking you, I don't know, is there something you wish to share? Can be like personal about your career, it can be a message for whoever is listening, for other artists, like whatever that's on your heart that you would like to share.
I would say, well, what's been on my mind lately a lot, it's a download that I was receiving and I wrote it down. It's like, once you become you, once you are you, this is when you're born. This is when your rebirth happens. It's when you are your authentic self and you are who you are and not afraid of being who you need to be. It's where it's like tu nais comme.
Yeah.
C'est comme.
Yeah, that's so true. Like it's like you tap into your sun, and your sun is the one that is here to shine some light, and then we all have this sun. It's just some people.
And I think we're all healers and all able to activate others and all able to channel important messages for us to advance all together as a collective. And I feel like in the collective consciousness, we're all going toward the same direction in a way, but it's all a matter of like pouring our art practice connected together and serving for the higher good. And
I think it's good advice, because most of people, if you have a bit of doubt of who you are and what you're here to do, you stick to other people's light. So like, if your boss is like very headstrong or whatever, you're going to be like, okay, I will tame my light for this light, and I'm just going to follow. And I think this time that we're collectively going through, it's about like finding your unique gifts and seeing how, as a cell in the body, that we all have a role to play with each organ, which is like, we each have our unique gift that make this whole ecosystem work, make it healthy again.
Exactly, but I also feel we all have unique gifts, and all those unique gifts have been like pushed back because of the programmation and then because of how we need to live and how we need to be and how we're programmed to be. So like, in a way, to releasing all this programmation, all this darkness, to let your inner gift reveal itself and master it yourself, anchor it in order also to help others and bring other people on this pathway, because it's the great awakening that is happening. Especially, it's been happening since 2012, like, but now it's very potent, and it's like you go in the shift or you don't, and if you don't, it's.
And that's my like true wish with Rosenbro, is to have this platform that is not about me. It's about a collective awakening. It's about inspiring artists and creators to inspire everyone. You know, it's like this ripple effect that when you aren't your true self, you light this flame in everyone around you for them to become their true selves as well.
And the more that the awakens, the better, the more we're gonna find peace on earth. So it's like the more that our awakens, the more like, the more peace will occur, the more like harmony will happen, and love will be the frequency that we want to resonate in the most. And it's easy to say, but it's a whole path. I think it's an ascension, but in many steps.
Yeah, and I think that's what reduces a lot of pain, is having a purpose, you know. And that's what your gifts serves, this purpose. Because if you don't have a purpose, then you just don't know why it's worth doing anything, you know.
And if you don't know your purpose, it will take time, but it's like we all have unique gifts, all of us. So it's a matter of tapping into that and finding the purpose.
And that's why astrology for me is fascinating, because you can see not necessarily the specificity of the gift, but where this gift might be accentuated in your life, and then through conversation see how you can activate it, because it's there.
And I also feel we need to, last message, I also feel we need to activate the younger generation that is coming. Like we're talking about us and the future and all that, but there's this generation that is coming that we also need to implement our knowledge and help them find greater purpose and awakening, and bring them to this.
Be like the models and the inspiration too for.
So I feel there's a lot to be worked on in this area as well.
And I've never mentioned it like in the public, but Rose Umbra, what it means is exactly that. The rose is our gift. It's the heart, the sun, like our true radiant self when we're blossoming, opening up. When we know we are the magician, ready to create magic in the world. And Umbra is shadow in Latin. So it's like these flowers are blossoming, but they're still under the shadow. They're not empowered, you know. And for me, it's to put the spotlight, the sun on it, so that it can like shine. And you know, like if you put a color in the shadow, it's a bit more tame. And when you put it in the sun, then very radiant.
Precious.
So that's what it's all about. That's what Rose Umbra stands for, and it's all aligned.
It's precious. I love it.
So thank you so much for it's this first podcast of this series, and I think it sets the tone for the others, and it's so meaningful that you accepted and that everything kind of happened magically like this.
It was very inspiring. I'm really happy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.